Hello, hello. Welcome to Media Queen TV. My name is Aldwyn Altuney. We have the amazing Francesca Moi with us today. And before we chat with her a little bit about this extraordinary lady, she is the CEO of Empowering Events and Empowering Virtual Solution. She's the founder of the Sold Out Business Academy and best-selling author of 3 books, with her latest being Invisible to Invincible. She has taken 2 businesses to over $1 million and one of them in just 14 months. Welcome, Francesca.
Thank you so much for having me, Aldwyn. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, I'm very excited about business and how to create a beautiful wealth and helping people and making a difference, right? This is what we all want our business, I guess.
Yes, and I've had the great pleasure of working with you. I was in the Mafia Academy back in the day and
Yeah.
started a few meetup groups after first working with you in Brisbane, met some amazing people in your community. And your background story is fascinating. I'm sure a lot of people don't know how you first got into business. We know you've been a Tony Robbins fan for yonks. And so if you could share a little bit about your background, and because a lot of people think, oh gosh, Francesca can barely speak English and here she is running multi-million dollar companies. And, if you can do it, anyone can do it, right? So
Oh
a bit
my
of your
goodness.
background.
Absolutely, absolutely, Aldwyn. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, by the way.
Yeah.
Definitely, I started a business only because of a breakup, by the way. I actually never said it this way, but I broke up with my ex and I was devastated. And I realized that there must be more to life than having a job that you hate, a boyfriend that you don't like, planning your escape for the last few years, right? I'm like, there must be more to life. And so when I broke up with him, I was genuinely devastated because I thought we were going to be together forever. And when I said the boyfriend that I didn't like, it's not that I didn't like the relationship that we created. I loved him so much, but I didn't like the relationship that we created because of my limitation and my self limiting beliefs and his, right. So obviously we were not in a relationship with each other. Our egos were in a relationship with each other. So it was very a lot. So I decided to leave Australia and go back to Italy, where I was born and when I grew up. And I decided to start to study mindset and study life coaching and become a life coach to really help myself first and hopefully help others. And I got so passionate about it. And I came back to Australia thinking, I will be the first life coach in Australia. And then I got here and there was the Mind Body Spirit Festival. I'm like, shoot, there's so many other coaches. What am I gonna do? Nobody's gonna hire an Italian with this accent. Come on. So I was devastated. Oh my gosh. And to be honest, in the first 9 months, and actually, I wanted to say this in December would be literally 10 years that I broke up with him and I left Italy. I left Australia, I went to Italy. And I came back here in February 2014, right? And I
Wow.
was a certified life coach. And from February 2014 until October, I made $120 in my business.
Wow.
Literally. So when people tell me, Francesca, you don't get it, you're different, you're successful, and I don't have that brain, I didn't have that brain. I wasn't a business person. I was terrified of even making one sale. That person, by the way, that paid me $120, I refounded her because I
Wow.
felt so guilty of like everybody else. I'm doing free session. I can't charge the one person. So I actually went and refound her. Like it was a disaster. So in October, I decided that I should stop playing business and having a hobby instead of a business. And I had to either go back to a job or I had to get my things together, right? So I decided to start a Facebook group and a meetup group. And that's how everything started. And then created this business. And then people started to ask me, can you coach me? And I'm like, let me check my diary that is empty. I had no client. And so there, like literally 3 months later, I had a $5,000 business. Like a month, I was making $5,000 and I was fully booked with clients one-on-one. And I hired my first virtual assistants in the Philippines to help me because I noticed that I was very good at selling and very good at delivering, but I wasn't very good at following up. So after my one-on-one session, I wasn't sending the recording and the homework and things like that. I would be too busy, right? I'll be like on momentum. And so but I didn't want to let my clients down. So instead of having bad reviews or letting clients down, I'll hire someone that is their strength was to do the admin for me. And so From there, that virtual assistant became a marketing expert, and we started to work on marketing, and things started to expand and expand and expand. And it was just a dream. And then from there, people started other coaches would ask me, how did I do it? And so then I created the Mafia Academy that it stands for Meetup and Facebook International Academy. And that grew into a $1.5 million business in 3 years.
Wow.
And I was like, what do I do with this? And I didn't know how to run the business, but I figured it out. And I made plenty of mistakes along the way. But I learned as well a lot. And yeah, and then after that, that was history, right? After that, COVID happened. Am I going too fast in the story? Do you want me to stop?
No,
Or
that's perfect. No, keep going.
and then the COVID happened, and this face-to-face event business was shut down. And I was like, what do I do now? Like, how do I do this? And I moved everything online. But between you and I'm not sure who else is listening.
Yeah.
But I didn't really like it. Right? I didn't like the online version of it. It was
Right.
so disconnected. Like I didn't
Yeah.
like to. It was a lot to run a 3-day workshop. You know, my 3-day workshop were intense, right?
Yes.
Running them online for 12 hours by
Mhm.
myself in behind the screen, I just felt empty at the end of the 3 days. So I was getting sick
Mm.
and I was getting like exhausted, and I found myself not wanted to sell anymore. And it's like something is like I'm passionate person. Like I've lost the passion. Like when people tell me I lost my passion, I'm like, passion is not a train that coming in front of your house and you jump on it. We create passion inside of ourselves, right? And
Yes.
I couldn't anymore. So I realized that part of my business, one of the branches of my business was funding and training virtual assistants for my clients. And so I decided to take that and make that a separate business. And so that's how the virtual assistant agency was created, called Empowering Virtual Solution, funding business owners, virtual assistants from the Philippines to help them in the back end. Because we can't do everything, and we shouldn't be doing it.
Mhm.
And so
Mm.
I think that what I value most now is, before at the beginning I valued making money. I was like, let's make money, 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 money. And I forgot about me, and I forgot about my lifestyle and my health and all of that. Now I'm like, how can I make the same amount of money but work only 2 days a week? And so
Yes.
the only way for me to do that is to delegate and to have people doing the doings, and I can just lead. And so I want people to do that so they can have the freedom to spend time with their families and all the things that they need to do.
Yeah, beautiful. And I remember I first saw you do a one-day event. It was 2017, and then I joined your Mafia Academy in 2018. And I actually took on a VA through you back then, and she stayed
Yeah.
with me for 4 years actually. And then she went to move into the UK, and now I've got other VAs as well. So having VAs is absolutely crucial, I believe, for business, particularly if you're busy, right? And I mean, I still have a lot going on. I still, playing a big game like yourself, right? We've got back-to-back meetings, and the difference is that the passion does come from within. So it really is outsourcing those things that you're not really passionate about, right? So for those that want to take on a VA, where can they start?
Well, to me is a part of not like one of the things definitely hire VA to do things that you're not passionate about, but also hire VA that you know you shouldn't be doing those things. Like some people
Yes.
are like, oh, I don't mind doing bookkeeping at night until 10 p.m. while I watch Netflix. I'm like, it's not about not minding it. It's about, why would you be doing something like that when you can hire someone to
Mm.
do it better, let's be
Yeah.
honest, do it
Yeah.
faster, let's be honest, and you can relax, fully relax, so that you can actually give your 100% to your business the day after, instead of working 24/7. Like, we're not meant to work this
Mm.
hard. And as business owners, we just think we're superheroes. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I don't mind do this. Oh, it's faster if I just do it. But it's not true. And that is gonna something is gonna give. Either you're missing out time with your family, or you're missing out time with yourself, or you're not
Yeah.
exercising enough. Something is giving, right? And so I
Yes.
prefer to finish work at 5 or 4, whatever time, and then take only for a walk, and then go to beach tennis, and then go to salsa, and have my life after work. I
Yes.
don't want my business to be my main focus. So when people tell me what should I do, is like the first thing is literally do a self audit of like, what are you doing every day? What are you spending? Because we're
Mhm.
also busy, but busy doing
Yeah.
what? What are we
Yeah.
busy doing, right? What are we doing most of the day? So literally take a piece of paper and start to write down every single thing that you do every day. And you will start to notice most likely that a lot of the day is wasted anyway. We waste a lot of time into scrolling, into looking things that are not important, into reacting to the business rather than work in the future, or work for things for the future. So for me,
Yeah.
is the first thing to do is like stop the business from reacting and start to be proactive. So what are the things that you need to put in place for the business to really be able to be an asset to you rather than be having you controlling the business rather than business controlling you. And the only way to do that is to really be clear on what are the things that you're doing every day. So first is a self audit of what are you doing every day, and then the other thing is do a literally a job description of a CEO. And if you don't know how to do a job description CEO, just Google it and do what a CEO should be doing. And you will see all the things that CEO should be doing and ask yourself what is the percentage of time that the CEO should be doing that you're actually doing every week. Because most likely you're not doing any of those things. And that's probably why the business is not growing as fast, because you are stuck in the business being an assistant, being a marketing manager, being the salesperson,
Yes.
being the admin person, being the customer service person, right? And you're not
Yes.
the CEO. And a business need us to let go all those hats, and we need them until the business get to 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, maybe even you need them. But I'm a big
Yes.
fan that even when you get to 100, just delegate the other things to get to 500 faster, right? So get a job description of that of what a CEO should be doing in a business, and then ask yourself, would you? And then do a job description of what you have been doing. So literally the list that you made, and then have a look. Would I hire a CEO that usually is about 200,000 a year to do these things that I'm doing right now? And
Mm.
most people be like, no. Like if I get a CEO, I get so frustrated with some of the assistants that I've hired in the past in Australia, and they're trying to do everything. And I'm like, listen,
Mm.
to the business, you are more expensive. We have assistants in the Philippines that obviously they're costing less to the business. Delegate to them. And even my assistants in Australia, they will say, it's faster if I do it. I'm like, no, it's never faster if we do it. Like there is a systems behind everything that we do. And so even if we get people to prepare it, it's so funny. Yesterday, someone messaged me and said, Francesca, you are in Tony Robbins' video in his website. Literally, you're popping up on a video. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And I was at the hairdresser. And I opened the
Yeah.
video and it was a 15-minute video. And I'm like, I'm never going to watch 50 minutes to see where I'm popping up. It doesn't matter. And then I thought, but I want to see it though. I want to see where. So I went on my Slack and I sent it to my VA and I said, girls, this is a video apparently I'm showing up in some time. Just please show me where, give me the exact time or when so I can just have a look. And 2 minutes later, they go, yeah, 15 minutes later because they watch it. They go, here it is. It's in 14 minutes, 57. And I went, I'm like, oh, here I am, done. Like even that, right? My
Yeah.
brain is literally set. And my hairdresser was in my hair. She goes, no way. I'm like, yeah, yeah. Like,
Saving,
sorry.
yeah, that's saving time. That's brilliant. Yeah.
Why would I see, even if I'm at the hairdresser, why would I waste the internet and time putting something for 15 minutes when I can just ask someone to tell me exactly the minute, right? And
Yes.
literally my brain works a lot. It's like, how can I save my time every time?
Yes, I love that. I think it's fantastic to be able to save time because really, you're either investing in money to save time or you're investing your time to save money. And really, time is the most valuable thing we have. And if you
Yeah.
think a third of people die by 65, right? They're the stats. 1/3 of the population die by 65. And how
Wow.
often are we wasting time doing things that we could outsource, we could delegate? And now I know that there can be some traps with delegating to the Philippines. Now I had a VA who was doing 2 other full-time jobs and 2 other part-time jobs while employed with me at the same time, using multiple devices. And so the time tracker was on the multiple devices, so you couldn't time track either. So some of them can be a little bit sneaky, right? So, and as much as, they're always lovely to your face, VAs, there can be some little sneaky tactics. So what are some things people need to be aware of with employing VAs from the Philippines particularly?
Well, Aldwyn, the thing is this, right? So we always need to know that people are smart, and technology now can help people to multitask if they want to. So to me, it's always going back to building that trust and building that relationship with people. But also, like I literally let my team be very free. So I tell them I don't really care. I mean, how much they're costing, right? They're costing $15, $16 an hour. For us, there's not even like less than half of what we will pay here. So if I pay them for 40 hours, but they do 20, it's still like cheaper than getting someone here, right?
Right.
So I'm not saying that I'm expecting someone to hire for 20, 40 and do 20, because that's not the case. But I'm also
Yeah.
giving them some slack. I'm understanding that they're costing very little to the business here in Australia. So I'm very flexible on what
Right.
doing, right? So I wanna set that expectation from the beginning. If I do that and I don't micromanage them, they actually love working with me, and so they will make sure that they don't stuff it up. So again, sometimes what I'm seeing is that our expectation is like, you are working for me and you better do these things. Instead, I go, we're working together and I want to build a relationship for long term, and I want us to be happy and free together. If that's not working, then I don't want you to work for me. I don't want you in my business. I want you
Yeah.
to be happy. I want you to be excited to come work with me. So for me to
Yes.
make them excited, I need to set up things that are going to get them excited. So instead of expecting, okay, are you gonna be working with me? Are you not gonna cheat on me, right? Are you not gonna get other
Yeah.
jobs? I'll go like, do whatever you want as long as you do the work. But then obviously my expectation of the work is quite high, right? So then
Yes.
I have conversation. I'm like, hey, your KPI is to get me 2 sales calls every week. You haven't given it to me. So what's happening?
Right.
Right. So I don't look at the hours. I don't care about the hours. I care about the result. Right.
Yeah.
So
Got it.
I have
Yeah.
clear KPI, clear expectation, clear result that I'm expecting them to do. And I get them to set up their own result, their own KPI, their own expectation. Right. So I say, you know exactly what you'll be hired for. What can you give me each week? And how can you report that to me every week? So when they drop the ball, the conversation is happening immediately. I don't do a conversation 3 months later. I'll be like, hey, in the last 3 months, you've been slacking. No, because that will allow people to find themselves in a job, right? So I'll be like, 1 week, hey, you KPI, you didn't reach it. What happened? Oh, well, I was busy or I was sick or whatever. I'm like, okay, well, next week, what you gotta do? Oh, well, next week I'm gonna make sure that I reach it. I'm like, no, next week you gotta do double. You gotta do this week and last week. Oh, okay, I'll do it. And to keep the job, they will do that. So it's about like, I'll set them free, but then I stick them. I really keep them accountable on the results, on their KPI. So that way, there's really not much space for them to go and find themselves another job. They can't do other things because I know how much time it takes to get me two sales calls a week. So I know that there really is not much time to do anything else, right?
Yeah, got it. Well, with my girl, as it turned out, she was dropping the ball everywhere. And so, she was juggling all these jobs. And so in
Yeah.
that case, I had to set her free, and bless and release to other opportunities.
Yeah. But
So
let's
yeah,
be honest with that, right? So when was the first time that you saw her dropping the ball?
maybe 2-3 months in, and I kept her for maybe 6 months. So
Right. Did you have a
mm,
conversation the first time that you see her dropping a ball?
I was saying how frustrated I was getting at repeating myself and things like that, but I sort of was giving a bit of like giving time. I thought maybe she's just still getting used to the job.
Yeah.
Um, so I kind of excused it and hoped it
Yeah.
got better.
Yeah. So this is the thing, right? We get desperate of keeping someone and they know that. And so then they play on that. So I can
Mhm.
find a VA in any time. I'm not attached to anybody. So that's the
Yeah,
thing that is important, right? We have to set that. Is like, if you don't perform, I'm not gonna keep you. So I want this to be long term, but we got clear expectations. So the other thing is, if you saw a drop in the ball, is like meeting. Hey, what is so every week? I don't even do a meeting when they drop the ball. We do a meeting every week for them
yeah,
to really tell me what they have achieved this week. And they have achieved what they have been hired for, then that's the conversation right there. Nobody's ever in trouble. Like literally in my meetings, the girls are like, okay, so FM, this week I didn't reach my numbers and this is why, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, do you think your KPI is too high? Oh, maybe. I'm like, okay, what do you think is realistic KPI that you can give me next week? And then they give me a number. And then obviously I will assess if I'm okay with it. But my VAs will never
Yeah.
give me a
Yeah.
not a realistic number. And I said, okay, next week let's go with this number and then let's work together on how we can improve it. Okay. And they're like, okay. So then next week I watch if they can achieve the second KPI, the lower one. And then if they do, I'm like, okay, fantastic. What are we gonna together brainstorm things that you can do extra to go back to the original KPI? And then together we'll coach them and we'll help them to reach the next KPI. And then every week they kind of keep reporting or going, yep, it's working. Yeah, I'm getting higher. Yeah, I'm getting a higher number. Or I'm struggling. And then they can be coaching done. So I wouldn't be, oh, this you've been with me for 3 months and you dropped the ball for 3 months. It doesn't happen. If they drop the ball for a couple of weeks in a row, then I'm not interested. But they wouldn't, right? Because of the set expectation. It's all about us setting high expectation and keep them accountable right there and then.
Yes, I think that's great. And actually knowing your numbers and setting some numbers, like we have numbers around how much we grow our social media followings, for example. So what are some numbers if if you've got someone doing social media management, what are some numbers you could put around that?
Well, the first thing is like you said, so the growth of the followers, the number
Yep.
of likes or comments that you want or reach on a reel, for example, right? You want those type of numbers. But then for me, those numbers are not as important as what do I want them to send these people to. So is it a masterclass? Is it a meetup? Is it a one-on-one session with me? Like that is my bigger number. Like the number
Right,
of the top of the funnel, they will know that if they don't get me people into my call, they haven't done the top of the funnel,
right.
right?
Yes.
So I don't really focus on that. Like they like to present it to me because it's pride. Like, oh, look what I did! I achieved 4,000. I'm like, yeah,
Yes.
congratulations. But how many people out of this 4,000 you got me into a call? Because if we
Yes.
don't have people into a call, we're not gonna make business. So I don't really care how many followers you can get me. If the followers are not the right people, if they're not the right target market, if we're not gonna convert them, right? So
Yes.
my
Yeah.
numbers are always into the middle of the funnel. If you've been working with me
Right.
and you have,
Yes.
so middle of the funnel is a presentation. So either a one-on-one presentation on the what we're going to help them with, or is it you know next a masterclass or a webinar, or right, what is the expectation of that? So that's my number that I care.
Now, I know a lot of people have money mindset issues out there, and I know how big you are on the mindset. So, for
Mm.
those who have some kind of money mindset stuff going on, what do you
Yes.
say to them?
Look, I am part of right now of this amazing, amazing, amazing course membership, or I'm not sure, it's called Entrepreneur Organization. And I love it because they're teaching us a lot of things about business that subconsciously I have done. But to be honest, I was also doubting because the the momentum that I created in the other business sort of backfire a little bit when COVID happened. But obviously I couldn't predict that. But I was
No.
giving myself a time of going, maybe I grew too fast, maybe I invested too much in the business, and maybe I didn't, put enough cash flow aside for the rainy days and, things like that. So I was giving myself a hard time. And the other day they gave me a confirmation that I actually did a great job. And I was like, yay, like, a little yay me, right? So
Yes.
my concept has always been the business money is not my money, right?
Right.
So when people pay me, they don't pay me, they pay the business that I work for. And the business I work for happened that I've founded, but that's totally fine, right? So
Right.
I've always separated when people like, in the small business, it happens often that people are like, oh, I'll pay you. And like, you didn't pay me. You pay me and you pay empowering events or empowering virtual solutions. It's not my money, it's the business money because the business
Right.
has bills, as employees, as taxes, as BAS. They've got a lot of expenses that I need to cover. So it's not my personal money. And that's the
Yeah.
first rule. And then I ask myself, what does the business need? Where does the business need to invest? What type of employees the business need? And so I spend the business money with what the business needs. It's not about what I want. It's not about what I do. But then because it's not my money, I also respect it enough. So if I sign up to a course, I make it worth for the business. I make the return on investment. There is no way that I would I sign up to a course for the business and then be that a waste of time or money. Like literally in this EO is amazing and we're learning so much stuff. I come home and I've got all my things. I'm like, okay, we're implementing this. Like I'm not there to just listen and like, oh, this is a good concept and then not implement it. Like literally I'm implementing it every single week to make sure that I do that. So for me, money is a vehicle for us to get the business to the level that we want, for us to have the lifestyle that we want. So one of the questions that they asked us the other day is like, would you prefer to have a $500,000 business with 50% profit or a 2 million business with 20% profit? It's fascinating, right? Because most people that have a small business, they will say, oh, well, why would I bother? Of course I get, the $500, right? 500,000 and get 50%. Now, 2 million, 20% is 400,000, right?
Right.
So it's a little bit more. But even if it was less, right? Even if it was 50%, which is 300,000, it's not about the 2 million and 300,000 versus the 500 and 50%, which is 250. It's not about that 2 million, 50% is higher. It's about what is your lifestyle when your business is 2 million and what is your lifestyle when your business is 500,000. When it's 500,000, we're still in the business so much. We can't let
Yeah.
go. You can't go on holiday and just leave. You can't. You're always an operator of the business. When you reach the million or more, that's when you become a business owner. That's when you become a CEO. That's when you can hire a whole management team. Not just like when you're 500,000, you can hire maybe one customer service assistant, one maybe marketing assistant, right? But you're not going to be able to hire a BDM, right? BDM, like to pay BDMs up, and nowadays they're about 200,000. You're not going to be able to hire a CEO, right? If you had BDM already, you would not have 50% profit, right? It would take all your profit. So Andrew says it's so true. So it was such a good lesson, right? It was so beautiful for us to go, oh my gosh, like the reason why I was pushing to go the business to 1 million probably was more my ego. I didn't know there was another reason behind it. But now I'm like, right, there was another reason behind. So it's like, how can I get out of the business? I'm not going to be able to get out of business unless I reach higher number so that the business can actually afford that. So my answer to 2 million or 500 is always will be 2 million, because so that way I can work less. So at the moment I work about 3.5 days a week, sometimes 3, sometimes 4, depends on the week, but mostly it's about 3.5. And that's because I was able to grow the business as fast as possible to be able to now put people in place so that I don't have to do everything. I actually do nothing. When I'm in the business, I would do meetings and direct people, and I don't do physically anything unless speaking to my team, speaking to my clients, and then my team does all the bits at the back.
Yeah, great. So I'm curious how many team members you have now and what roles are they in?
So I have 6 virtual assistants full time in the Philippines. And I have one person just hired as pretty much a general manager, and I've got one customer service person that is part-time here in Australia.
Okay.
So the Philippine girls, they divide the role between being a supervisor of our clients' VA, and also they work in my business. So I've got 3 in marketing, 2 in customer service, and 1 is operational manager.
Okay. Beautiful. Love that. I love how you structured that out and how you've explained that. And for a lot of people in small business, their business is a direct reflection of them and of their personal mindset, right? So if they have money blockages personally, that of course will affect the business, right? Now, for you, I know you've been a massive Tony Robbins fan, right, for years. And so mindset is huge. Obviously, he's the biggest personal development guru in the world. Just did his last event, UPW in Sydney, which I saw you jumping around the front there. So So, he's obviously impacted so many lives. And that's the other thing about having a multi-million-dollar business is you're impacting so many more lives, right? So for you, was there a turning point for you when you were, you made the $120 in 6 months versus then suddenly things going exponential? Was there a big mindset shift or something that happened there that was a turning point for you?
Yeah. Look, I know that people say you cannot give all your credits to Tony Robbins. You cannot give all your credits to one person. And I don't believe that. Like I believe that obviously I was ready and I was ready to make the shift and I was in enough pain for me to decide to make a difference. But
Right.
to be honest, I told you the story in 2014 February. I came back from Italy to Australia and I started that life coaching business. And I didn't make any money until October. And the reason why I said October is because in September, as always, I went to Tony Robbins. So that was my first UPW. And
Uh-huh.
in that UPW, I decided Tony Robbins event is a 4 days event. In that UPW, this does a massive, massive meditation on if nothing changes and you're gonna be like this for another 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. It's called the Dixon process. And that for me was the moment that I went, I can change. At one point, Tony sort of yells at you and said, "No, but you can't change. No, but there's nothing is going to change. You're going to stay like this forever." And I remember me going, "No, I can." And I was like, "Stop saying that I can't change." Like that has been one of my biggest forces always. Is like when people tell me I can't do something, I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute, I can do it." And I remember everything in me said, no, I think I'm gonna do this. I actually am gonna do this. And so I came back with that decision that this is not gonna what I've done in the past was not gonna determine what it's gonna do in the future. And the excuse is gonna be over and I was gonna make this happen. And so in that moment I made a decision. So the year after I came back to Tony Robbins with 100 people.
Mm.
100 people. So after that event, I sold literally $28,000 of ticket for Tony Robbins in 24 hours.
Wow.
And that's when I went, if I can make $28,000 for Tony Robbins, I can do that for my business. My belief used to be people don't have money, people wouldn't pay for coaching, people wouldn't do this, people wouldn't do that, but they will pay for the next year to go to Tony Robbins. $28,000 in 24 hours. Why don't I do that for my business? What the hell?
Yeah.
And so I made a goal. I said, I'm gonna make 100,000 for Tony Robbins in the next 8 months, I think it was, or 9 months, but I'm gonna make 100,000 for me. And I did exactly that. I made 100,000 for Tony and I got a ticket and I made 120,000 in my business for that second year at the end, right? Because the first year was pretty much wasted.
Yeah, got it. Love that. Love that. Andrew Orton's here saying it's a decision and belief together. Thank you, Andrew. We've got Davey Aussie here on Facebook. Keep up the good work. Hello. He says
Hello,
very
Davey.
Hello, Davey. Good to have you with us. And for those who are joining live, let us know, what are you getting from this conversation so far? Let us know in the comments. What are you getting from this conversation so far? And do you have a VA? Very curious. Do you have a VA or several VAs? And so you pivoted. There's that word pivoted
Yes.
from COVID. You went into the VA business. And what have you seen in that time? What are some of the biggest mistakes that business owners make when it comes to employing VAs?
Well, this is one of the biggest things, right? People expectations. Sometimes we have, and Tony, I'm gonna quote Tony here. Tony says, people sometimes overestimate what they can create in 1 month of the virtual assistant starting. I'm just adding that piece. Tony doesn't talk about virtual assistant, but I'm gonna say that. So they overestimate the first month and they underestimating what they can create with the VAs in 10 years. And so people, and it happens to me, like I always have to manage expectation. I'll be like, it's a virtual assistant. They're going to be assisting you in your business, in your procedures, in your strategy, in your ideas. They're going to help you implement your strategies, your idea. So we need to grow our brain, right? We need to invest in our brain to understand how to do marketing, how to do sales. And then people tell me, but I'm not good at marketing. I'm like, okay, too bad. Go and study. Like, this is your business. Like, you can't outsource everything. You're still the leader, right? And unfortunately, people don't make the decision of learning until they're enough pain. And then they go, okay, I think I need to learn marketing. And one of the mistake probably that I made in my first business is that I've outsourced Facebook ads without understanding it. So I could never get the results because I could never understand it. The only way for us to really we don't have to understand how to do it. We don't have to do it, but we need to understand what the platform, the bigger picture, so that we can lead it. And that's what
Yes.
people make the biggest mistake. They get a virtual assistant and they're expecting the virtual assistant to run the business. And then they tell me things like, oh, my VA is posting the wrong things on social media. And I'm like, okay, what content are you giving the VA? Oh, I'm expecting the VA to write content. I'm like, even a copywriter would need some blogs, some videos, some information from you to write the content. If not, they're going to write their content, not yours. And then people are going to buy from them, not from you. Like, this is not going
Yeah.
to work, right? And it's such unfortunate that people think that virtual assistant can be managed. And they forget that in 10 years they can. My virtual assistant has been with me for 7 years. I tell you a little secret. Again, hopefully not many people are listening.
Yeah.
I don't know most of the things of my business. Like I literally go, hey, Babs, do we do this? Like, hey, Babs, do we have this procedure in place? Hey, but like, because she's working in the business every day, she knows exactly what to click, what to do. I can't remember everything. I'm leading marketing. I'm leading, and careful what I'm saying, leading. I'm not doing. I'm leading the
Yeah.
marketing team. I'm leading the sales team. I'm leading the customer service team. I'm leading all the service. I can't remember all the procedures that we have in every department, but I have leaders in each department that I can go to and say, hey, what do we do here? Like we have a IT company that does see, I don't even know how to explain it properly, but pretty much they are doing like antivirus in every virtual
Right.
assistant computer, right? And
Okay.
so today he was doing a presentation, and I was like, "Wait, Babs, do we have this? Does it do this for our VA as well?" She goes, "Yeah, for the last 6 months." I'm like, "Oh shit, we're good." Like,
Ah,
do you know what I mean? Like I said yes 6 months ago, but then I make so many decisions I can't remember everything. But I led that 6 months ago, right? So I'm one of the biggest things is like I know everything about the business, I lead everything, but I don't know how to do everything, right?
mm.
Hello,
Joe.
Joe.
Hello, Joe. Hello, beauties. With the queens are in the house here. The queens are in the house.
So that's one of the biggest mistake, right? Another mistake is like they go, oh, finally I'm drowning, right? I'm a CEO, I'm drowning. Now it's the VA here. And they like throw task at the VA and the VA is like, wait a minute, right? So we have to remember, we have to help people to get used to a business, right? For example, I've got now the general
Mm,
manager that I just literally hired this week. And it's been a week and they haven't got me any result. Should I just fire them? It's like it's the first week. Like they have to understand the business
mm,
for them to even start to do anything, right? It's
yeah.
not going to be possible, even for someone that I'm paying 100,000 a year, for them to come in and go like, "Oh, it's been a month, you haven't done anything." It's like let them get used to the business. Let them understand. Let them spend time. Let them shadow you for a couple of weeks to understand what the business is about. People are like, it's been 5 minutes. Let's go. Fired. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. Uh,
No
and I
patience.
resonate because I used to be like that. Like I
Yeah.
totally resonate, right? So we need to understand that people need time to get used to it. And I always go back to my memory of like when I used to work in hotels as a receptionist. That's my last my last employment that I had. And when I moved from one hotel to the other, for the first 2 weeks, I was just shadowing. Oh, but I would expect you to know the system. Yeah, I knew the other system, but this system is different. So that's it. I need to still learn it. So it will still take me 2 3 weeks for me to get a little bit good. And then I'll still need
Mm,
someone in my shift that was very knowledgeable. So when I get stuck, I'll be like, hey, I don't know to check in this person. This is happening to the computer. Like I needed someone right there with me to help me. A VA is on the other side of the world. They don't have you right there. So they have to sort of also figure out if the computer doesn't do something, they're going to be like, okay, I need to figure it out. They have to Google it. They have to do something. So we need to be patient, right? Like the expectation that we have, they're crazy, right? Um,
mm,
the other thing that we do wrong is that so in the when I said overwhelming in task is like we need to make sure that we break down the task that we're giving and choosing like we divide it in 3 phases. So month one, I would like you to get used to posting on one platform on Instagram. Let's just nail that. Okay, you got that in 1 month. Okay, now we're gonna move to now repurposing from Instagram into 5 different things, and that's month number two. And then month number three, let's start to work on procedures, on admin, all other things at the back end of the business, right? It's like let's
right.
not go, welcome, you're 40 hours a week. these are your 40-hour tasks. Let's go, right? And expect
Right.
someone to, like, it's just too much. It's too much at once, right?
Mhm.
For anybody. Another one is due dates. So I'm expecting a virtual assistant to do task, but I'm not explaining what to do, how to do, and when to do it. So I had a client that called me and said, I think I'm gonna, you guys gave me the wrong VA. And I said, okay, what happened? And the client said, I told the VA to book me all the clients. So it is like this person was like a coach and said to book me session with all my clients in the month of July. And I said, okay. And did you tell them how? Well, no, they've got the numbers and they've got the people. I'm like, okay, well, I would have maybe preferred that you do a couple of those follow up and be like, okay, this is how I would find the number of the client. This is where I will message them. This is a template message that I would like you to send. I would have created a little bit more structure around just that, not just go and book me. Like, okay, did you give her like a time of the day that you prefer to be having clients or any days? Oh no, she's got access to my calendar. She can just work it out. I'm like, I don't know, because if then someone put me at a client at 9 a.m., I'm not gonna be available at 9 a.m. I don't work until 11. So if they don't know that, how they're gonna do that, right? It's like, no, it doesn't work. And then the third thing is like, and I'm super disappointed because it's the 15th of July and it's still not done all the clients. I'm like, so you gave a deadline to your VA that should have been done on by the 15th of July? No, it should have been done on the first week of July. Actually, it should have been done on the last week of June. I'm like, but did you say that to the VA? No. I'm like, okay, well then the VA, you said book me all the clients in August, in July is the 15th. She's done nothing wrong. Like, it's so
Mhm.
fascinating, right? So
Yes.
fascinating that we have rules and expectations in our brain, but we haven't explained it. And then we are disappointed that they haven't done what we haven't told them.
Yes. It's crazy. No one
I
here does
don't
that.
get it.
Other people do this. No, of course, I am actually guilty of that myself. I have done that
I am
myself.
all doing the reason why I know it is because I do that. I still do that sometimes. Right. But the difference is that when I do it and my VAs told me, I'm like, hey, have you done that? And they go like, no, you didn't tell me it was urgent. I'm like, oh, sorry. I don't go like, oh, you're in trouble. I'm like, oh, sorry. Okay, what are you working on right now? Oh, yeah, can you prioritize this, please? I really need it urgent. And like, let's just be kind to them. Like, they're people. And if we're kind to them,
Mhm.
they will do anything for us. Like, honestly, my
Mhm.
VAs now, they would truly, truly do anything. But the other day, I was like, guys, I really need to do something urgent. Please, please, please. And they were like, and I teach them how to manage the calendar, right? So they're like, I've got a client this afternoon. I've got this that I need to do. I need. They all had the calendar fully booked for the afternoon. And I said, guys, I really need this to be done by tomorrow. Can you guys do it tonight? And they were like, you never want us to work night. I'm like, I know, I know, I know, but I really need you to do this tonight. I get you pizza. I get you pizza, and I get you pizza for the whole family. You guys are gonna have a party, and they're like, done, deal done. And they loved it. They sent me photos. I was actually FOMO. They were all having a pizza while they were doing this one. It was a small task, right? But then I needed all of the brain together, and they needed to do role plays on this. And I'm like, come on, guys, I really need you to do that. And they're like, all right, let's do it, a pizza. And they sent me all these photos of them having a pizza. It was amazing.
Classic. Oh my gosh, I love it. Joe's made a comment here. Oh, the journey of finding a good VA, though. I was so patient with my first one and I had her for 8 months. What a learning curve for both of us, though. And there was a lot of navigating and training for her to be productive. She was so inconsistent, some great work and some terrible and everything in between. I do need a new one now. I will listen to complete video later, rushing off right now. I'm sure there are lots of gems here. And then she says, I was very kind to mine and even paid her over Christmas when I really didn't need to. I think it can take some of us to find the right fit, take some time. Mm,
Absolutely, Joe. So you want to be kind, but you, like I said at the beginning, you want to assess their work, right? If they're not working, I don't
mm,
want to be overpaying someone that is not working. Like, I'm not a charity here, right? So absolutely, there's got to be
yeah.
clear expectation. There's got to be clear indication of what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and how. And then if I give it everything and I don't get the result, this person is out. Absolutely. So I'm not just saying that it's always 50-50. What I'm trying to say is that it's like we need to do our bits for be able to the
Yes.
VA to do the bits. And if we don't do our bit, we can't just blame the VA. But if we have done our bit and the VA is not delivering, she's not the right person.
Yes. So take the
That's okay,
time.
Joe.
Take the time. Take the time. Yes, great strategy, she says.
Have a
Great
good day.
strategy. Thank you so much for that, Joe. Absolutely, it does take time. And sometimes you have to go through a few of them before you find a really great fit. And I think attitude is really important as well, not so much the skills. So
I
can you
was
talk about,
Oh my
you know,
gosh, you just said exactly what I was going to say next. So, one of the things that we hire on attitude, not on experience. I
right.
don't care if you have zero experience, if you have the right attitude, you're hired because I
Yeah.
can teach skills to everybody. I cannot teach anything to someone that's got a really bad attitude. Nothing. Like, there's
Mhm.
no, even if they're already experienced, even worse, because when they're already experienced, they are already molded in a certain way, so they already have bad habits that I can't undo. When someone is new and they've got a great attitude, I can teach them exactly how I want them to be, and they're gonna follow exactly all of it. I love it. So
Yeah.
I hire on attitude, not on experience. Actually, most of our VAs are inexperienced. We then train them, and then we pass them on to clients, and we have 5 review from every single client, even the ones that are leaving us because they can't afford it, they can continue working. They go like, I will come back as soon as I got the money. I love my VA. So it's like so good. We've created such a good.
Yes. Yes, I love that. And something you always said in the mafia is that if you can employ them full time, not part time,
Oh yeah.
to have that loyalty, right? Otherwise, they
To
could
have
well
the
be.
loyalty, but also to have, like, I don't know your business, but my business, you blink for a second, you miss the whole thing. One client left, one client joined, this client upgraded. Like, it happens in an hour. Literally 10 things can happen. So if you work part-time, the next day you come to work, you got to spend 2 hours to catch up on what happened in like 4 hours that you were not there yesterday. So I'm not happy with that. I don't want people to catch up. I want people to be there and be there with me. So for me, full-time is always the way to go. I don't enjoy, I never had a good experience hiring people part-time, to be honest. But I do understand sometimes businesses can't afford it. They need to grow with that role, which is totally fine. But then if that's the case, then we need to understand that out of the 20 hours, they're going to spend at least 5 hours in catching up. So now the 20 hours is only 15 to actual work, right? And out of
Mm,
15, there's going to be a couple of meetings. So now we're going down to 12. So it's really important to understand that time flies. Right now, we've been talking for already 40 minutes, right? Time
mm,
flies. You can chit chat for hours, right? And
mm.
you got to be careful that it's going to be dangerous for them. Another thing that was important that I wanted to share before is that people fix the mistakes of the VA because they get frustrated. So they find a mistake, they go, "Ah," and I just fix it. But then by fixing it and not teaching, you are going to find the mistake again. And now, again, your brain goes, I already fixed this once, but you haven't told the VA of what you fix and why. So I
Right.
always prefer to never give feedback on a message. I'd rather to go on a call and be like, hey, thank you for doing the work. Now, maybe I didn't explain myself properly. This is how I would do it instead. Share my screen and do it together. So I will click here, I will do this, I will do that. This is why, this is how, and this is what I would expect. And that's how I can really help them. And then the next time, now that I give them all the information, if they do it wrong, that's when I go, okay, it's a flag,
Yes, got it.
right?
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a great point too. And what about start times and end times for VA? Do you give them a bit of flexibility there? Particularly, a lot of them have got children at home and things like that. Or do you say we start at this time every time?
I want them to choose the time that they want to start, and uh, on time is late, 5 minutes before is on time. So that is my rule to every meeting, to everything at all. Like, there is no way that you come on late for a meeting. I'm the CEO. I'm not here waiting for a VA. It's just not happening. So for me, it's important that, again, these are all the things that I set in place with my VA. So at the beginning, it's like, what hours can you commit to? And they have to schedule the day. They have to schedule the time. Now, I don't mind my VA having the kids on the lap when they're working every now and again, and I don't mind if the kid is sick to nurse the kids when. I don't mind any of that. Again, as long nothing gets drops. If something
Yeah.
get dropped, then I'll be like, okay, what happened this week? Why you drop it? Oh, I had my kid here. I'm like, okay, how are we gonna solve this in the future? Are you gonna have a nanny? Are you gonna what are you gonna do? Like, I can't have the business need you to work, right? So it's about having conversations, and a lot of us are afraid of that, right? We're afraid of having conversations, so we're trying to just be the nice boss. I want to be the nice boss, but my expectations are super high.
Mm,
Super
yeah.
high.
I love that you mentioned time, because I must say I've been a little bit challenged with being on time or even early. For on time, early, even on you say on to 5 minutes early is on time. On to this, and they say there's on time and in time people. However, you can change over time, and it's been a real effort for me and a real challenge, I must say, to turn up on time. And I've been much better lately. And I know in the past you've battled with that as well. So was there some point that you had a turning point with that for yourself as well?
And I'm still battling with that, to be honest, Aldwyn, because we had that personality, right? My personality is like flowy and fun,
Yeah.
and like, I'm chatting with someone, I'm like, oh shit, what time is it, right? So it's been very difficult for me to change, and I'm still not perfect. Like today with you, I was a couple of minutes late, right? So I was here, but then because I didn't give myself time to go to toilet, so I was like, I better go to toilet before I get started. So I did all those things. I prepared my water, all the things that you were saying. I did it in those 4 minutes that I was late. Right, but it's not fair. I should have been here on time. The only reason why I was late, because when you said the interview started a little bit later, so I thought I can take this minute to prepare myself. Right? But in theory, at 11 o'clock, I've finished my other meeting. I was ready to come here. Right, I should have finished the meeting 5 minutes before though to come here. So for me, how I shifted that is get my team to keep me accountable. So if I need to be the leader, I cannot be late all the time. And when I'm here, I cannot be on my phone and stuff like that. I still do it sometimes, but days are very stressful and I've got a lot of things on. I excuse myself and guys, I'm here, I'm listening, but I have to message this client. I have to do this thing. Like I multitask and I will explain it. And it's not my favorite things to do. I need to really change this one more time. But from where I used to be, I'm happy to have done a couple of steps, right? So where I'm at now is that my calendar is my boss. Whatever my calendar tells me to do, I'll do it without negotiating. My brain wants to negotiate. My brain is like, oh, podcast? No, let's do something else, right? So how I overcome that is that I know what are the tasks that I want to procrastinate on, and I get my virtual assistant to meet me on Zoom. Literally. So even if she doesn't do it with me, she's there. She continue working while she's on Zoom.
Right.
So there is no way for me to get out of it.
Right. Got it. I love it. Having someone else keep you accountable, I think that's absolutely gold. Now, I love the topic here, double your business with a virtual assistant. And this does happen for a lot of people who take on VAs, that they can double their business very easily. And then for others, they feel it was a complete waste of money, a complete waste of time. So what are some other tips to actually double the business and not have it be a waste of time for people?
Okay. So for me, the times that I've seen people saying it was a waste of time is probably the fact that if the VA wasn't up to scratch, they kept it for way too long. It's like if someone is not up to scratch, in the first week or two, fire them and find someone else, right? If you've done all the things that I said though, right? So give yourself a self-assessment. Have you given them all the tasks? Have you given them due dates? Have you explained the work properly? Have you done it on Zoom with them? Have you given them feedback on Zoom? If you've done all those things and still the things are not getting done the way you want them, then probably the person is not the right match for you. It doesn't mean that they're not good. They might be good for another client. I had a couple of VAs that didn't work well with someone, but worked really well with another client. So sometimes it's also personality. Most of the time it's personality. I forgot your question.
About what the difference between those that double their business and those that find it a waste of time. So you've got some great points. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I got too excited about this. So definitely one of the things is like the keeping the VA way too long, and that's why it becomes a waste of money, right? But then the people that double, and also the reason people don't double the business is because they're expecting the VA to double the business. The VA is not there to double the business. The VA, again, is an assistant. It's not a BDM. It's not a business development manager. It's an assistant, which means they're going to assist in the task and in the strategies that you already have. So if you're a business owner and you don't have a marketing strategy, the business is not gonna double. So my suggestion, and people tell me that, okay, so maybe I should hire a marketing manager. I'm like, no, you should hire a marketing strategist, pay them 5K, 10K, whatever it is, to give you a strategy, and then have the VA implement it for you. Right? Because you don't need to pay a marketing manager to be there, because they're not going to do the doing, right? They're just going to make sure that you have that. And maybe in part of that 5,000, 10,000, make sure that in 6 months they give you another audit so that you know that you're on the right track. But you have to have a strong marketing strategy for you to double the business. So my idea is when people say, I double the business with a VA, it means that you have given enough things off your shoulder to your VA so that you save 10 to 15 hours a week, so you can spend those 10 to 15 hours a week into building a business, into going to networking events, into doing more videos for social media, into doing more masterclasses, more sales calls, whatever it is that you do to get business. But the VA is not going to do it. We need to do it. So my goal is I get a VA. I spend at the beginning, there's not going to be any doubling because I'm actually spending more time with the VA. So nothing's going to happen for a month or two. So for a month or two, things are going to actually maybe even go down a little because I'm spending my sales hours into training, right? But I got to assess that this is the right person to invest in, because if they're not right, I'm wasting my time. And then as soon as I'm happy with this person who started to take things off my shoulder, in 1 month, I should save about 2 to 5 hours a week. In 2 months, I should be saving 5 to 10 hours a week. In 3 months, we'll be saving 20 hours a week. Now, in 3 months' time, 20 hours a week in sales, if I don't double my business, it means I'm a very, very bad salesperson, right?
Yes. Yes, there's some brilliant tips there. I love that. And
Thank
what
you.
about with systems now? Now, systems is something I've always thought, oh gosh, I'm hopeless at systems. It's not my, and you mentioned before you have a checklist for everything, right? So what are some ways for people that don't think they're good at systems?
You
What
don't
are
have to
some
be
ways?
good. There's the good news. You don't have to be good at systems at all.
Yay. Okay, awesome. Well, that's good news.
But you gotta have to hire someone that can help you with business, with systems, right?
Right.
So all you need to do is always think, am I ever gonna have to do this again? Like
Yes.
before we jump on this call and you were amazing. You were like, have you got your water? Have you been to the toilet? Have you got your microphone? Have you checked your microphone battery? Is it, is it good? It's not good. Right? You were checking all those things. And I'm like,
Yes.
great. Do you have a checklist that you're following? And you're like, no. I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot of brain space.
Yes, a lot of brain space.
Why would you keep like that's like a lease, right? It's like take that
Yes.
off and use it for something else. And
Right.
literally, that's how my brain works now. So I'm not good at making the system, because also what will happen to me, and I think that you're similar to me, if you and I close this phone and we're going to a white piece of paper and write down all the things that you were telling me before on how to be ready for
Yes.
an interview, my brain will
Yes.
go blank. Would yours?
It could do. Yeah, it could do.
Good.
So,
So
yeah.
what I do,
Mm.
I get on a call with my VA again. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, I need to put a procedure for that thing. And
Uh-huh.
then I just role play it, because role
Okay.
playing, my brain just goes boom and I've got the answers, right? So be like, okay, so if
Yes.
I have a guest here, I will tell them, do you have water? And my VA just type it. Like, do you have
Yeah.
water? But then I'll ask them about the microphone. Then I will ask them about the toilet, and I will ask them about blah, blah, blah. And the next
Yeah.
time that I do it, I will have my VA on that call. And then if I say to the client something else, they will add it to the same list. And it was so eventually, after 3, 4 times, that checklist should be good, and I just follow it. And now I've got a piece of my brain back.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, I think there is a lot going on in this brain of mine. Lucky I've got a lot of hair to sort of keep it all insulated. But
I love it.
I think that's a great idea. And actually, I've started sort of bits of lists here and bits of lists there, but it's just bringing it all together. And for some people, they use the Loom videos and things like that. Yes.
Yeah, but Aldwyn, I don't even know where to find this freaking list. I don't
Yes.
need to know. This is the thing, right? My team needs to know where they are, how to keep them updated, and then they need to provide it to me the moment that I need them. So if I
Yes.
were to do this call, like before when you asked me my bio, I don't even know where to freaking find my bio. I went to my team and I said, guys, send the bio to Aldwyn. I don't even know where they are. Do you know what I mean? And I don't need
Yes.
to know. This is the beauty of that. When you have staff members, you can know that we have a bio, but I don't know where it is, and they're gonna go and find it. I mean, I'm not retarded. Like I can find it but it would take me 10 minutes when it took me
Yes.
1 minute to my VA, right?
Yes. Yes. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And any other tips? We've almost been chatting an hour. I can't believe it. So we'll be wrapping up shortly. But any other final tips on how to double your business with virtual assistant?
Well, again, so having the marketing strategy in place and then understanding that time is money. So it's like, what is your main source of income? Like, where do you get most of the people, and can you spend more time doing that? So putting the systems in place around how do you get clients, and some people are like, oh, I'll get clients from referral. I'm like, okay, well, then put some system in place. Like send an email to your database to say, send me a referral, like send a message to your clients to ask them for a referral, make it easy for them to write a letter for them to send to someone. Like create a system around that. Don't just wait for the referral and then 1 month that your clients are busy, they send you nobody. You're like, oh, there's no business this week. Like, let's just realize
Yeah.
that when you now have free up 20 hours a week because you have EAs doing stuff for you, then go, okay, what are the things that I need to put in place for the business to save even more time, right? So then I can and to make more money. So am I just rely on referrals? Okay, maybe I need to have another way of income. Maybe I need to go to networking. Maybe I need to join BNI. Maybe I need to, right? What are the things that you need to be doing to get more sales? So again, it's back to our responsibility. But for me, also the other thing is like get a virtual assistant to really do good marketing on your social media so that you can, with a good call to action, so that you can get people to say, yes, I want what you have. Yes, I'm keen to work with you. So build that and monitor it, right? This is the other thing that people go, oh, my VA has been doing marketing, but we're not getting clients. I'm like, okay, monitor. Have you monitored it? They look at me blank. I'm like, well, I monitor it every week. I'm like, okay, if you guys reach that famous goal, the KPI, and if you haven't, I help them tweak it. I don't just go, I'm expecting you to
Mm.
tweak it. I'm like, maybe we need to talk about more about this problem. Let's try this month. Let's focus more on this problem. This is why my marketing is never more than 2 weeks in advance because I'm
Right.
tweaking it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is working. This is not working. Let's go more to before what we're doing before. Let's move more this way, that way. We tweak it together, but we do meetings and we tweak it.
Yeah, I think that's so important, especially with the changing algorithms, etc., on social media. So much is changing. New social media platforms opening up, and for those that are doing organic marketing, it's becoming more and more challenging to get the cut through. And for
Yeah.
those who are doing paid ads, they're paying more and more, it seems, to get the cut through with the paid ads as well. So
Oh yeah.
so being persistent in business is really, really crucial, and being prepared to tweak and to not let perfection get in the way of progress, right? How many people do that? Let perfection get in the way. And that's the same with systems. Back to the systems conversation, right? It doesn't have to be a perfect system. Keep tweaking it. I heard you say you tweak the system, and that's the way forward. And there's many ways you can keep your system. Some people use Google Sites. Some people, we have project management systems like Asana. What are some of the ways that you keep your systems?
We put them all in Google Sites. We love that. You can have a bit of an agenda, and we really love that. So we put everything in Google Sites. But to be honest, it's really irrelevant where you put it, as long as you know where they are and as long as you're keeping them up to date, right? So one of the things that I teach my clients is to have at least every week half an hour with your VA. Um, at the beginning with the VA, but eventually the VA will do that by themselves to work on procedures. Make sure that you're updating the procedures. What have you done different this week? Does it need to be updated? And literally monitor that every single week. Because if not, if the procedure is not up to date and your VA leaves, ouch, you'll be in trouble.
Yes, I love that. And for those who want to work with you, Francesca, how can they do that?
Well, I'm more than happy to jump on a call with anybody and do like an audit of your business and see what do you need and what are the tasks that you're spending time in, and help you understand really where you need to start on delegating, because sometimes that's the biggest confusion is like, I don't know what to give, so I'm not going to give anything. And it's like, no, you need to give. So you need to give tasks and I can help you work it out. So if you want, I have a link that we can put in here on everybody, but my website is going to be actually launched tonight. And I wanted to tell everybody, people tell me, okay, I'm starting a business, I'm going to do a website. And I'm like, no, if you have no audience, you do a website, there's like putting a billboard in the middle of the desert. Nobody's going to see it, right? So
Yes,
I have not created a website until the business got to 1 million. 14
yes.
months later, now I'm creating my website. So I do have a landing page, but that's not, I can't tell you to look at it. So from tonight, you guys can check it out. It's called empoweringvirtualsolution.com. It will be live tonight at 5 p.m., which is really exciting. But if not, just find me on Facebook, Empowering Virtual Solution. And you can message me there and my team will send you a link to book a call. And you can book a call personally with me or with one of my team. And we can help you work out what are the tasks that you should delegate to a virtual assistant. And then we work out, is that part-time, is that full-time? We also have a 10-hour package. And then if it's the right time for you and everything aligns, we can work together. If not, at least you know what are the things that you need to delegate first when you're ready.
Beautiful. And I'll share the link for your page in just a moment. Empowering
Thank
Virtual
you.
Solution on
Yeah.
Facebook. I'll share that link in there. And future goals for you. What are some future goals?
Well, for us, we have now 60 clients in the agency. Our goal is to get to 80. And after I get to 80, I'll be pretty happy to maintain it at 80 for a little while. And then we'll see. We'll see what life happens after that. So we only have 20 spots and then we're going to be fully booked.
Okay, amazing, amazing. So there it is, guys, facebook.com/empowering virtual solution, which no doubt will have the link to the new website in the next 24 hours. Perfect timing. Wow, this is like the pre-launch of the website.
know.
Very, very cool. So there it is. Check it out there. And you can book a call with Francesca right here as well, empoweringevents.com.au and
Yep.
/e/rockstar-VA.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll see that there as well. That's in the comments there. Any final words before we wrap up, Francesca? It's been such a pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely. I love what you do. And, we've been friends for a long time now, and I love to be connected with you. Final thoughts would be hire VA before you drown.
Yes, VA before you drown. Some people are just keeping their head above water, and I know all about that because I almost drowned myself in February this year. So that's a whole other story in Coffs Harbour. But yes, hire a VA before. I got swept out to sea, a kilometre out to sea in Coffs Harbour. But yeah, look back in the socials, you'll see all about that.
Wow.
So interesting times, my friends. So I love that. Any other words of wisdom? We've got Dinesh. Hello, Dinesh.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And business should be fun. If you're not having fun in business, you have to revisit what you're doing because it shouldn't be stressful. I mean, it can be stressful, but we're going to remember to have fun in it because if it's not fun, it's not worth it.
Yes, and the more fun you have, the more money you make, my friends. That's what they say.
Yeah.
So bring it on, bring it on. Love that, Francesca. Thank you so much for your time today. And for those who want to connect with me, you'll find all my links at linktree/Aldwyn. That is linktr.ee/Aldwyn. Has all our events. You can book a call with me in there as well for any media magic. Then reach out if you really want to get yourself out there, start your own show and get publicity, all that kind of stuff. So reach out to me for that. And we have the Global Good News Challenge every month, absolutely free as well, where you can share gratitude and good news. And that's very, very powerful as well. Dinesh says it was great. Congratulations, love and regards from India. Thank you, Dinesh, all the way from India. Thank you so much. Blessings to you once again. As Gandhi says, be the change you wish to see in the world. Lots of love. Thanks for connecting. If you've enjoyed it today, put some comments in the chat. Let us know what you thought today. Share the love, and we'll see you again soon on Media Queen TV. Thank you so much, Francesca.
Thank you for having me.